disclaimer that we will start with the presentation from the last one, with the presentation from the team number one. Please, my friends, share your screen because we will try to provide all the 4 presentations today and try to spend no more than 10 minutes for your presentation because we have a very hard schedule right now. So team number one, you're welcome, and your topic is number 10, product in construction and the real estate.
Can you see the presentation?
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, then, hello everyone, and today we will try to be short and brief and clear. So we opted for 4 technologies that are now actively used in our industry, construction and real estate. And you can now see a list of these technologies and purposes they are used for. 3D printing, additive manufacturing with potential to decrease manpower requirements and costs, reduce material wastage, enable in-situ repair in areas of limited human access and resource availability. BIM, facilitate object-oriented physical representation of buildings, assist with the visualization of real-world objects, coordination among project actors, and production of construction documents to delivery. BIM-enabled collaboration saves rework time, cost, and error throughout the entire life cycle of the building, especially pre-planning phase. Game technology facilitate interactive safety training and can be integrated with BIM, increases workers' efficiency, safety, and operational efficiency. And the last one, autonomous vehicle robotic system, automate and facilitate assembling repetitive or complex tasks on construction site.
According to the projects, a more correct approach is to design all buildings in a BIM environment at once. This is longer by a month at the preparation stage, but it turns out almost free of charge in the total estimate. In Russia, all construction projects involving state budget funds concluded after the third day of the current year require the mandatory use of BIM technologies. With the help of BIM, developers can accurately control costs, see real estate reports on purchases and use of materials. The BIM model allows you to quickly build a schedule for the production of works. In a second, to find out the planned completion date of any element of the building. In conjunction with electronic document management and electronic digital signatures, the BIM model drastically reduces the amount of live control at the construction site, including from the state. The first facility in Russia designed using BIM technology was a kindergarten from the Equitel group of companies in St. Petersburg. The project passed the state expertise also in digital format and received a conclusion in September 2020.
Now let's talk about virtual reality. Virtual VR is a virtual reality. This way, a completely artificial environment is created, simulating various situations and demonstrating the object as it will be after the completion of construction or creation. AR is an augmented reality because digital images and objects are superimposed on a specific area in the real physical world. It's a great solution for visualizing future builds as it adds context, overlays design data, and adds information onto the real-world image. Arriving at the construction site, the specialist receives a project on his tablet or smartphone and providing an interactive experience clearly demonstrates how the formwork will be installed. In addition, the application can immediately calculate the necessary components and their number. A similar software application is also available from other formwork manufacturers. For example, Pascal introduces automated planning software that can exchange all necessary information with BIM-enabled software. In addition, the company has a hardware solution that provides real-time data on the temperature of concrete, which allows you to determine its strength and the actual level of maturity.
Game technology, VR and AR. Tech companies working in the fields of extended reality and gaming are developing software applications and tools for architecture, construction, and engineering and the real estate industry. Game engines such as Unreal Engine and Unity are used by architects, planners, developers, and real estate companies to build the mixed reality applications needed for their work. For example, Unity Reflect and Unreal Engine are used for the transfer of multiple BIM and CAD models into a three-dimensional real-time environment. The real-time visualization enabled in these engines helps to gain a better understanding of the physical environment, such as scale and proportion, switch locations, lighting, and can accelerate future development proposals. This software ultimately aims to streamline the project lifecycle and increase the efficiency across all stages of the project, from the design conceptualization to the construction. Additionally, it serves as a communication device between different stakeholders, not unlike shared BIM models, which are already used for discussion and decision-making during the design process. Virtual real estate and extended reality.
What is virtual real estate? The term virtual real estate refers to the virtual land or buildings that can be bought and sold in online digital games or other types of virtual assets and have a specified location, web address, in-app address or ID or geo reference. For example, web domain names or land and buildings in online digital games and virtual worlds can be considered as virtual real estate. What is extended reality? Extended reality refers to all virtual real environments combined, including augmented and mixed or merged reality and their in between states. Extended reality subsumes all virtual and real environments interacting and affecting each other through digital technology. These ranges from Google Maps to Pokemon Go, and VR real estate walks thoughts to immersive VR experiences.
Now let's talk about extended reality in gaming tech. One of the most relevant use cases of extended reality and gaming technologies in the AEC and real estate is a digital twin. It's a digital representation of a physical building that combines three-dimensional visualization with other types of data, such as occupancy rate, traffic flow, real estate value, energy use, pollution, and other in one place. Several countries around the world have a national digital twin program, most notably the United Kingdom. Big tech players such as IBM, Cisco, and Siemens, alongside Europe, work on a broad range of solutions from proof of concept small projects to full enterprise developments of digital twins for the built environment. A more traditional case for the use of gaming technology and XR in our field is visualization and visual communication. These technologies now assist with VR real estate experiences, interactive walkthrough, and green room experiences for home buyers. Another use case for XR and gaming technology in AC and real estate is in training. Employee training is an essential part of the construction industry, and the use of AR can reduce new workers' safety risks on being a site. Among the most mainstream cases that connect XR with AEC and real estate is consumer AR applications. For example, IKEA Place, House AR, and other similar applications are used for interior design plans and virtual decor placement. Unlike previous example, intended for an expert audience or site-specific use, these apps can be used by anyone who has a smartphone.
What is the value of virtual assets embedded into physical space? Consumer AR games can provide insight on how to build environment in the real estate sector can be affected by geolocation-based virtual assets. Anecdotal evidence suggests that when its popularity peaked in 2016, Pokemon Go assets were used to drive the value of rental listings. Moreover, AR can be used to increase foot traffic, with consequently may have an indirect effect on real estate value. The special distribution of virtual assets challenges property borders and brings up concepts such as virtual land rights. What is the value of virtual real estate? Lastly, we consider the value of virtual environments and virtual assets that operate as purely fictional digital spaces and goods. This is particularly relevant in the current context of COVID, as more of our lives have been shifted online for both work and play. A virtual world is any online social persistent, meaning that the world is online and exists independently from the users accessing and interacting with it. Three-dimensional environments. Examples of virtual worlds include Fortnite, World of Warcraft, Second Life, and so on. Perceived as third spaces, these virtual worlds are ultimately an opportunity for people to interact and socialize remotely, while not being limited by crowd numbers. Beyond serving as a gathering and an event space, virtual worlds can be markets for virtual goods and virtual real estate. Players are not only buying items from game developer companies, but also trade items with each other, and this secondary market of digital goods is sprawling. There are in-world currencies, which in some cases can be exchanged for cash, and these worlds can specially and intentionally designed by the developer publisher companies or by the players themselves. Minecraft, Creative Mode in Fortnite, Second Life, and Decentraland are evidence for this. As gaming and extended reality companies are building technologies that find their application in the AES and real estate, we can trace the emergence of new tools that contribute to the industry. AR and VR-driven tools bridge the gaps between different stakeholders in the design, development, and construction process, and help to shape the discussion as well as implement projects change swiftly. AR applications can become wayfinding tools and interfaces between a building, a tenant organization, and a consumer.
Leading companies associated with robotics are already producing a variety of construction vehicles that are successfully used in the construction of large objects. There are several types of construction robots. The first one is industrial. Industrial robots in construction aid in the actual building of structures. They are commonly programmed to perform repetitive tasks. There are also several subtypes of industrial robots. The first one is collaborative robot. To work, cobots need direct human interaction. They are designed to work with humans, doing things that would generally be too difficult or would take too long if done alone by either man or machine. For example, one of the first devices was the Serum robot from American Construction Robotics, laid more than 3,000 bricks per shift with a high quality, many times higher than human capabilities. However, it cannot work on its own. The builder needs to feed the bricks onto a conveyor belt. The second subtype of industrial robots is articulated robots. Articulated robots are usually seen in manufacturing because they look like a human arm. They can be used for diverse applications, from tasks as simple as assembling to more complex ones like welding. And the last subtype of industrial robots is a Gantry robot, also known as linear or Cartesian robots. Gantry robots are built with a manipulator set up on a horizontal overhead plane. This type of structure on robots has various purposes, commonly picking up, carrying, placing objects, and sometimes welding. For example, linear robots from KUKA are able to achieve maximum efficiency in the automated linking of work sequences between machine tools, processing systems, or injection molding machines. The Gantry robots are thus perfectly suited for tasks such as automated loading and unloading, turning and transferring.
Drones also take the meaningful part of autonomous vehicles and robotic systems. The construction industry has taken advantage of this flying machine for its multiple uses. Because they are controlled remotely, they can quickly provide managers and workers with a quick view of the site, giving current updates on the go. Managers can take off large cranes or boom lifts of the budget costs and instead use the drones to survey the area. They can also help during inspections, avoiding the long walk around the site. This idea also applies to security. A single drone can easily give its operator an aerial view of the site, whereas humans, even teams, would take a while to cover the area. Moreover, these robots mainly help in the planning and designing stage. Drone mapping allows the drone to create a detailed aerial map of the project site, making it into a 3D model. The model will then guide contractors in designing and determining the potential challenges and delays they might face and be prepared for it. With that, they will have a more accurate budget estimate and possibly save money during the process. And the last part of robotic systems is self-driving vehicles. Vehicles are one of the most significant contributions of technology to the construction industry. Since the introduction of heavy-duty vehicles like dozers, forklifts, and excavators, efficiency has increased and labor has been made relatively easy. The company Build Robotics has a few autonomous machines already in their lineup, including dozers. These machines are versatile and have a range of tasks they can do, like leveling the ground and pushing heavy objects. The automated version by Build Robotics can do all that without human operation. Additionally, automated vehicles help in improving safety on site. Even if the best safety plan or the most skilled worker, human error will always jeopardize the worker's safety. Autonomous construction vehicles can reduce that risk because they practically eliminate human error. Now let's talk about 3D technologies. It's robotic arm extruders, SAP 3D printing, and metal technology. There are a few options to use 3D printing in the construction industry. First one is robotic arm extruders. One of them is a robotic arm extruder. This technology is called contour crafting. It's fairly similar to how FDM desktop 3D printers work. The rails are arranged to let the robotic arm move, and within the limits of the rails, the arm will build the house layer by extruding concrete material from the nozzle. This is the most popular 3D printing technology used to build Excel structures. The next one is stand 3D printing. It's more similar to industrial 3D printing, such as SLC or jet fusion. The machine spreads a layer of sand powder, then hardens the shape of the structure with a binder. And the last one is metal technology. It's not last but not least. For structures such as bridges, which have to withstand more stress, Dutch company MX3D developed wire arc additive manufacturing, or WAAM. The team described the technology. We combined an industrial robot with a welding machine to turn it into a 3D printer that works with our own software. The robot allows for 3D printing metal structures in 6 axes. And that's all technologies that we wanted to present to you. In conclusion, we would say that it's generally accepted that 3D printing will be a revolutionary force in manufacturing, whether positive or negative. Despite concerns over counterfeiting, many companies are already using the technology to repeatably produce intricate components, for example, in automotive or aerospace manufacturing. In real estate, AR lets potential buyers tour a property via their smartphones, regardless of their location. AR also lets real estate agents tweak the room's design. Visualization is key in real estate, and it has the power to make or break a sale. Robotic process automation, or RPA, has a significant role to play in the transformation of the real estate industry. The technology will allow real estate companies to automate arduous manual tasks and allow real estate professionals to spend more time on assignments that add value to their business. Thank you for your attention. We're ready to answer your questions.
Good. Thank you so much. Teams number 2 and 3, you're welcome with questions.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. It was very interesting. And our first question about BIM. How do you think forcing BIM is too early for Russian market or not? And can you explain your answer, please?
Maybe it's not hard for you. Can you put your question in chat, please? It would be more convenient for us.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay, thank you. Give us a minute. Okay, actually, it's a good question. So, at the one hand, this step is necessary to follow the current trends in real estate and construction. So it ensures the the safety measures and so on. But particularly in Russia, I don't think that our market is ready. So we don't have enough specialists for BIM. So for now, only the big companies can afford good BIM specialists. So it will only make this their the situation of monopoly on the Russian real estate market, well, oligopoly, I know how to say it in English, even worse. So it's a good step, but it's too early.
Okay, I got your point. Thank you. Okay, the next question is, do you think that implementations of all mentioned technologies is beneficial for all companies? I can write in chat if it is necessary.
No, thanks. I got your question. So actually, it really depends on the size of the company. So BIM, I guess, is beneficial for big companies who can afford it. Once again, um, and who can mm, and who can take these additional costs. But if we're talking about small companies who are trying to be competitive, who are trying to build uh, at least, I don't know, one or two buildings, that's some additional costs, and they don't really need them, and they can't really bear them. So depends on the company.
Okay, I agree with you.
And the last question, don't you think that the brain drain in IT sphere will hazard the potential use of BIM or any other texts from your presentations?
Actually, it's a problem. It's a big problem, but it's mostly the problem for the uh, development of those technologies. So the BIM technology um, is already, I know how to say, in production. So there is not so much to develop in it, but to rise new specialists, yes, there is problem with this. So it's not that harmful now, but in the perspective, it's a big problem. So yes, something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. We also have 3 questions. And the first one is that in your presentation, you said that all construction projects involving state budget funds concluded after the 1st of January require the mandatory use of BIM technologies. Do you know what will be the consequences if it isn't done?
Actually, it's an interesting question, a specific one. So yes, as we mentioned, from the 1st January of 2022, all government funded building sites have to be preliminary modeled in BIM. So before before that, only objects with the costs of more than 500 million rubles, as I can remember, were first to create such models. But now it is applicable for any company. So if the legal requirement is not satisfied, the company won't be able to complete the government contract and build a facility based on it. So no,
Okay,
yeah, no BIM, no project.
Okay, and the second question is how the employees of construction companies react to the introduction of new technologies, whether corporate training is organized.
Okay, thank you for your question. Give us a minute.
Okay, maybe I can answer your question. It definitely depends on the company and on the employees. If it's a big company and there is a culture of regular training and qualification improvement, news about new technology should be taken easily because it's just regular occasion. But if the company is small, no regular training is arranged and the staff doesn't contain of young people who take innovations at once, there could be some problems, but we can say that it also depends on the employees at the age, because we know that young people can accept new technologies more easily than the elderly people. And this way, maybe new companies with young employees can implement new technologies quickly, more quickly than the companies where employees are not ready for new technologies and progress and something like that.
Okay, thank you. And the last one, also you told us about robotics technologies. Can you tell us where they were introduced and what it led to? Maybe it led not only to positive effects, and you can give us some examples.
Yes. Okay. On one of our slides, we have given an example of use of robotics tech in construction and real estate. So it was an American bricklaying robot construction, Robotic Sim. And yes, actually, there is, of course, a negative effect of robots and automation as a whole. People lose their manual jobs. Robots can do their work more effectively and quicker. However, it's an inevitable process of evolution. What is more, education is a solution in many cases of structural unemployment caused by new technologies.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, my friends, for such a detailed presentation. Let's move to the second one, and according to our schedule, it will be the team number 3 and topic number 14, financial technologies and how could we implement modern solutions to predict prices and to improve our distribution channel. Okay, my friends, you're welcome.
Good afternoon. Today we will present our analysis about fintech. To begin with, it's important to identify what is fintech. The term fintech, financial technology, refers to computer programs and other modern technologies used by businesses that provide automated and improved financial services. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, a new phase in the evolution of the financial technology sector has started, and it has several trends. The thinking of many financial institutions has evolved. They are now seeking to team more with emerging technology companies to gain access to new markets and products, greater efficiencies, or just the secret source that makes innovation go. At the same time, many fintechs themselves have thought to join with large financial institutions to expand into new markets, extend their client network, gain industry and regulatory knowledge, and even simply cash out. Of particular interest in studying this topic is the development of fintech startups in Africa, where there are not even standardized banks. The GDP of the entire region is 6.8 trillion. If Africa were one country, it would be the first in the world after China, the USA, and India. Undoubtedly, the economic capacity of the region is still small, but in the next 30-50 years, it is predicted to grow steadily in the range of 6 to 12% 8% per year. And this process will be accompanied by the creation of new industries and types of business. What is more, the future will be made in Africa, Mark Zuckerberg promised during a surprise visit to Nigeria and Kenya last year. According to experts, the level of development of the IT market in Africa is 5 to 10 years behind the Russian one, depending on the specific country. So far, only 28% of the continent's inhabitants have access to the internet. But in the last few years, the situation has been gradually changing. Now the digital technology industry in Africa is actively developing, and the international market is noticing this trend. According to the research company Brother Bridges, the volume of venture investments in Africa startups in 2020 amounted to $1.31 billion, most of which came from fintech projects. In 2021, African fintech raised about $3.3 billion in funding as investors recognized the region's huge growth potential. According to the number of transactions concluded by Crunchbase, the data also shows that in 2021, the largest number of transactions in 1 year was recording about 198. South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, and Egypt are considered to be the drivers of the region's venture ecosystem. Projects from these countries have received the most investments over the past few years compared to their neighbors on the continent. Investments in Africa states in millions can be seen on the chart. The Republic of South Africa, where 41 fintech companies are registered, is the leader in the field of financial technologies on the continent. South Africa is next in the list with countries such as Hong Kong, the Netherlands, Switzerland. As noted by Yelif Soka, representative of the Johannesburg Women in Blockchain project and head of the Africa Blockchain Association, South Africa is the gateway to Africa, especially when it comes to financial technologies. Let's see several reasons for the country's success in the field of fintech. The Republic of South Africa has historically developed access to technology, a good soil for growth. Media corporations and business incubators also contribute to this process, spread information, train, and support. If you look at other countries, for example, Nigeria, the basic of their progress is the entrepreneurial spirit, the desire to earn. It is a driving force that bypasses all obstacles. The economic situation in Nigeria is not the best, and the country is not leading in economic indicators. For example, in terms of GDP per capita, Nigeria was in 113th place place in the world in 2017, with a poverty rate of 53%. People are looking for opportunities to save and earn. The emergency of fintech startups against this background is understandable. Everyone strives to attract financial for development.
And one of the largest fintech startups in Africa is Flutterwave, that received a valuation of $1 billion. In 2020, Flutterwave raised $35 million. In 2018, the $20 million, and in total, the company raised $225 million and became one of the few African startups to receive more than $200 million in funding. Flutterwave launched in 2016 as a payment company from Nigeria with offices in Lagos and San Francisco. Helps businesses create customized payment applications using their APIs. According to the latest data from Flutterwave, the company has proceeded more than 140 million transactions worth more than $9 billion. The service also helps companies outside Africa to operate on the continent and has an impressive customer base of international companies, including Booking.com, Facebook, Flywire, and Uber. Now let's look at two more examples of payment services that were developed in Kenya. The first is that the level of mobile communication penetration is growing rapidly in the country, and in 2007, Safaricom created the money transfer service named M-Pesa. It works almost like a mobile bank with limited functionality, without the need for an internet connection. Safaricom collects account data, and customers can contact one of 110,000 agents across the country to personally conduct a transaction. The system uses SMS-like technology and has already spread to 7 countries. The second example is Equitel. It's a virtual mobile operator offering a full package of banking services on mobile devices. To show how to use the service, the company sent agents all over the country, covering even remote regions. With the localism strategy, Equitel has grown rapidly and captured 22% of mobile money transaction market in just 5 years. So this startup can serve as an example of how the emphasis on the distribution of a service is in the specific conditions of one country led to rapid growth. These companies have dramatically expanded access to financial services in the country. In 2006, only 26% of a country's population could use them, and today at least 83% have basic capabilities. These innovations are not only exported, but also became models for other African countries. So 24 countries were inspired by the Digital Economy Plan, following the example of Kenya. The results are already noticeable. According to the GSM Association, mobile spreading in West Africa has doubled over the 10 years. In 2018, 23 million mobile accounts were created in the region. Africa is one of the fastest growing crypto markets in the world. From July 2020 to June 2021, residents of the continent transferred $105 billion in cryptocurrencies, 1,200% more than a year earlier. The region also has one of the highest rates of mass adoption of cryptocurrencies. Thus, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, and Tanzania are among the top 20 countries in the Global Cryptocurrency Adoption Index from Chainalysis, taking 5th, 6th, 16th, and 19th place in it respectively. At the same time, South Africa is the absolute leader in terms of the number of currencies holders and market volumes. So, according to the result of a study conducted by another research firm, KLA, up to 47% of adults in South Africa are holders of cryptocurrencies, and the third plan to invest in them in the future. Let's highlight the main drivers of the sharp growth of the American crypto market. The first one is low base effect. Initially, the low starting rate allows it to grow rapidly from year to year. Lack of access to banking infrastructure. Most people in Africa do not have access to a banking system, and the banking infrastructure itself is not developed. As a result, people are forced to use electronic transfer services like PayPal or various P2P platforms. For example, the Kenyan mobile payment platforms M-Pesa, which operates throughout Africa. For ordinary residents of a region, cryptocurrencies are similar to electronic transfers already familiar to them. And the popularity of P2P transfers, Africa is the leader in the share of transaction accounted for by transfers between ordinary users within the region, 7% against 5.5% on average worldwide. Such transfers account for up to 96% of all transactions on the continent, most of which are transferred up to thousands of dollars.
In addition, cryptocurrencies have become especially popular for international transfers in African continents. This is caused by the following reasons. The first of all is high commission. Africa is the most expensive region for international transfers. The commission is on average 30% higher there, when the commission in cryptocurrency is just a few cents. Also, high speed of operations with the cryptocurrencies. It's cheaper and easier for local companies to use cryptocurrencies for settlements than to officially conduct a transaction throughout a bank. Transactions with the digital assets are faster and more profitable, plus accompanying documents are needed. And also actions of authorities. Actions of authorities of some countries that have imposed restrictions on the amount of money for international transfers. Therefore, cryptocurrency has become even more popular for international transfers. Having considered the factors of the popularization of cryptocurrencies in Africa, let's pay attention to what hinders the development of crypto markets in the continent. First of all, is the low internet coverage. Less than a quarter of the area is covered by high-speed internet, and people just not able to perform transactions. Also, insufficient financial literacy. Cryptocurrencies are too complex product for most ordinary people in Africa. After all, many of them did not have the opportunity to master at least traditional banking and financial technologies. This significantly reduces the options for using cryptocurrencies in Africa. And the last but not least, the high level of crypto crime. The Chainalysis report names extortion and fraud as two main types of crypto crimes. According to the analytical company, South Africa is one of the leaders in the transfer of cryptocurrencies obtained illegally. The biggest case was the collapse in 2020 of the South African Bitcoin platform MTI. The company deceived 25,000 investors who entrusted with 23,000 Bitcoins. So all in all, it is here in Africa that digital assets can become much more in demand than in West Asia or Latin America. Most local residents have not had time to get used to the traditional banking system, so it will be easier for them to step over to the new financial technologies, including cryptocurrencies. Another trend spreading financial technologies among a large number of people is simplification. The creation of convenient, intuitive interface for complex operations. An example for such attraction of people to financial technologies of buying and selling shares is the Tinkoff Investments application. A convenient application, educational materials, built-in analytics, and recommendation lead to the easier entry of people into the stock market. Another example, Saga Assistant is a mobile application that allows issuing accident notices in the form of an electronic document. Participants of the accident are able to immediately upload and send photos of the damage, describe the accident, and apply for payment. All process take just 15 minutes. Thank you for your attention.
And now we are ready to answer your questions.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. On the other hand, there is the issue of developing in any countries the financial technologies itself. How could in Africa countries, thank you for this presentation, those field might be developed extremely successful compared with Europe or even North America countries. So you need to know that in Africa, the traditional banks are not so widespread and not so many citizens are able to communicate with traditional banks. So secondly, this is the issue of communicating in a new manner between client and financial technology itself. And the most widespread example of implementing machine learning is concentrated right on the financial technology. Example of working a small bank, and if you are responsible for making a final decision, should you work with this client and provide him the banking loan or not, you could use any traditional rules, traditional business processes, and to find any important points in his life and his previous history of interaction. So you could use the traditional business processes, or you could use the modern technologies such as machine learning that might be responsible for making decisions based on the history of interactions. And the machine learning will find the particular rules. What is the most significant factor to work with this client or not. So, and if you will be interested in this case, I will let you know there is a very good book about the machine learning. It is also available in Russian, and a very short topic in 5-7. No, I'm not sure. A very short topic will describe how does it work in the practice. Yeah, and another option is if we are talking about the financial technologies and pricing, is the set of all financial technology market members to the big data, and how could you implement this knowledge to make your products more attractive for customers. Yeah, there is a lot of things around us, a lot of news, and how could we use all this information to make our predictions in what should we invest. And if you are a professional of the market of investors, you will also use this data to provide better experience for your clients. And in case of financial technologies and new modern technologies, in general, it is easier of implementing very, very wide data, all things around us to make the final decision to invest or not to invest. And it's correlated with the product and pricing maybe in the real estate, because real estate is one of the most significant direction to invest around the world, and there are a lot of startups to evaluate quickly does this flat or apartment works like a tool to invest. And if you will find if you have a lot of data about the deals on this market for a long period of time, you will predict the price for each apartment very precisely. And in case of finding any available apartment for a smaller price, you could make an advice to invest. So this is the collaboration between financial technology and the real estate market in implementing in them both such technologies such as machine learning. Okay, thank you so much. And let's move to the debate stage. Your opponents will be teams number 1 and 2. Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. So our first question is connected to the investor. So you mentioned that there are investors in fintech startups in Africa. So they attract funds, and we would like to know a little bit more about it, and also your opinion why these investors are exactly this. So why these companies invest in Africa? Why not others?
Okay, thank you for a question. I think I can answer it. After analysis of different resources, we can make a conclusion that China invests the most in Africa. As for the reason for such actions, many experts think that with the help of such investments, China wants to get local resources of this area and dominate in different industries, including fintech. Of course, nowadays such actions brings benefits to the African tech sector, but the transfer of control into the hands of China undermines the internal ecosystem. So it may become a problem for such startups in the future.
Okay, thank you for your answer. And let's move to the second question. So, in what other countries are fintech services development more actively than in other regions?
Okay, we will think for 1 minute and answer.
Okay, if we talk about the spreading rates of fintech services, the emerging markets are the leaders. The top are China and India, and they're followed by Russia and South Africa. But as for developed countries, the leaders are the Netherlands, Great Britain, and Ireland. High spreading rates of fintech services over the past 5 years were demonstrated by Australia, Canada, Hong Kong, Singapore, United Kingdom, and the United States, from 16% to 60% from 2015 to 2019. Cause of low need in these technologies, because of high involved usual payment methods.
Okay, thank you. And our final question. So, you've mentioned a lot about fintech technology itself. Yeah, financial technology itself. And we have a question connected to it. So, what areas does fintech influence?
Okay, thank you. I think that there is no doubt that fintech influences a lot of areas. As for most such sectors of the economy as consumer services, banking, money transfers, and payments, has the most actively affected by fintech. Also, we can mention that the spreading of fintech services has affected insurance, assessed, and capital management. So I think that these areas are the main.
Okay, thank you for your answers. That will be it for our questions.
Yes, thank you for presentation. And now we'll ask our questions. And the first question, can you say us any other areas and companies that can use technologies that you described in your presentation, please?
Yes, thank you for your question. I think I can answer. If we talk about cryptocurrency technologies, it can be useful in almost all areas of business, especially internal business. Such cryptocurrency transfers will avoid the mediation of banks, linking to exchange rates, which is very important in unstable situations in world. And one specific example that comes to my mind is the field of computer games, where the introduction of cryptocurrencies would also be useful. Maybe from the point of view of the owners of gaming platforms, it will be easier for process all payments from players in the cryptocurrency without attachment to the national currencies of different countries. I think it's all.
Thank you for your answer. And our next question, how did the development of financial technologies begin? Could you explain us, please?
Yes, of course, we will think for 1 minute.
Okay, where ready to answer? The first, the fintech. The first wave of the modern financial technologies began in the United States. And the main breakthrough was the appearance of modern credit cards, debit cards, most important of which were presented in the 1950s as a diner club cards. The next innovation in the 1960s was the bankograph of the Citibank of New York, an automatic machine for making deposits. So this was the first prototype of an ATM. So yeah, that's about the beginning of financial technologies.
Okay, thank you. And our last question about this industry in the Russian Federation. And can you please tell us how financial technologies were developed in Russian, and maybe you can name some largest companies in Russian?
Thank you for the question. I think that I will answer it. If we consider the fintech in our country, we think that it can be also called actively developing. And in general, the key place in our fintech, the fintech in our country, is occupied by large financial organizations. Primarily, they are banks, because they actually introduced new modern technologies and leaving almost no chance for independent startup in Russia. As for the largest fintech companies, we can mention such as Umani, SolarStaff, BCC, and also I remember such company as Cloud Payments, that is also one of the largest by revenue in Russia. Thank you for your questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friends. Unfortunately, we have only 10 minutes for the last presentation. I think that we will skip the debate stage, but anyway, we need to provide this presentation. The team is the second, and topic is 21, IT and communication with clients. It's a very wide issue, but I think and I hope that you will be able to spend no more than 12 minutes. Yeah, 12 minutes. Okay, my friends, you're welcome.
1 second, we have one technical problem. So.
So hello, today we are going to speak about communication with clients in IT industry, and we are considered to cover two technologies. So the first one is CRM. So next slide, please. Yes, so it's customer relationship management. In broad terms, CRM software enables businesses to build relationships with their customers. Like CRM systems stores and analyze massive amounts of information about customer data and provide some insights into customer behavior and how company can influence it. So the next slide. Some goals of SRM. So generally, the goal is to create a better customer experience, and because of that, to get more sales. So 4 main goals. The first one is to increase customer retention. So to keep customers becoming back more, focus on R in CRM. So R is relationship. And the second goal is to shorten the sales cycle, so to speed up sales process and close deals more quickly. And CRM makes sales process more efficient, meaning that sales can be made in less time. The third goal is to sell more, so increase sales, focus on selling to right people, to right customers. And the first one, the last one, fourth, is to decrease customer acquisition costs, so to spend less per sale, saving time and money by some automations in parts of sales and marketing processes. Next slide, please. So what is the role of CRM in the IT industry? So CRM software, though its database and analytics benefits IT companies in many ways, and some of the key functions are: the first, it's sales and marketing. So CRM tools store information about leads and from various sources like social media, offline marketing, and etc. And having all this data in a single place makes it simpler to analyze some businesses and to manage their sales and cover leads into customers. The second one is operations and support. So call centers and customer support units are crucial components in this CRM for customer relations, and it records all the information and interactions between customer and support teams and can generate reports to show this productivity and highlights metrics like number of open versus closed tickets. And the third one is analytics. So CRM tools process, interpret, and report the data of sales and operations, and it can build a picture of the ideal customer and current situation, performance of all operations. And this doesn't just enable companies to focus more on which marketing campaign work, but also how they can improve operation efficiency. So next topic that we're going to speak is components of CRM for the IT industry. So CRM works in tandem with the customer life cycle and typically involves sales and marketing activities and customer support. So the circle of CRM covers the processes companies use to make customer aware of brand and of what they have to offer.
And so next, CRM offers the delivering process, and that companies can make sure that they can deliver it continuously, because usually customers that they're so existing customers are becoming like repeat customers, and companies need to be sure that they can deliver it continuously. And then CRM can provide any help or guidance they require along the way. So, and the following components of an effective CRM tools can enable companies in the IT sector to manage budget and meet some deadlines. So the first is singular database. The database store all the amounts of information and about leads. So mobile app, it's like an easy to use mobile app that can track everything regarding sales and project management. That's very useful. The third one is integrated telephonies, so like integrated IVR and telephony system enables to write agents to handle relevant information about their customers, and also can separate and segregate customers by skill, issue, priority, and etc. The next is customer support tool, like along with telephony, IT companies can also provide customer with a tool to create tickets for their concern, and so also to follow all the information by web-based and chat-based support teams. And the last one is automated reminders. So it's very useful for businessmen, like to follow up on the meetings and etc., and remind customers about the subscriptions renewals. Like we always forget about them and then need to overpay for them. And to connect for services like project development and more. So, and next, it's how CRM implemented, so implementation steps. Next slide, please. That CRM implementation is a process of deploying the CRM software for the company to track and manage its communication with current and potential customers too. So the first step is to define strategy. It is very important, because every successful implementation of CRM beginning with the building a solid strategy. So it includes goals to achieve with SRM, business areas it need to be covered, so sales, marketing, customer services, etc., and processes it is support. The next step is to map out implementation plan, that to create a project plan that implies breaking down the CRM project into manageable stages with the clear time limit, because it is going to the next step, assess risks, that the first common risk is going beyond the time and budget. The next is to inconvenient SRM that users don't want to use, and maybe not only customers, but also like employees. And the last one is steep learning curve. So now examples of implementation.
When we are talking about the foreign markets, we may name Apple. I think everyone knows Apple ID, which is an account that you use to access Apple services like App Store, Apple Music, iCloud, Message, FaceTime, and others. And this unique ID synchronizes across devices. It saves music and film preferences and provides bespoke recommendations based on what you like. And domestically, we may name, for example, Yandex. There is a subscription and personal account Yandex Plus in various services. So, for example, Yandex Music, Zen, Yandex Maps, Yandex Taxi, Kinopoisk, and so on. It works on approximately the same steps, because it synchronizes information and think about your preferences. Yes, next slide.
And now we'll talk about prediction. If in 2019 the share of companies that use a CRM system in Russia was about 17%, which is a fairly small value compared to figures in Europe and America. And according to forecast, the number of companies using the system in Russia will grow to 61% by 2025. And all companies, in general, all companies need a CRM system, especially in the IT field, as it helps to establish all business processes and establish communication processes with clients. Next slide, please.
So now we will talk about blockchain technology in terms of IT industry. In terms of the goals of using blockchain technology, first is truly omnichannel communication. It's goal of many customer service organization, but stitching together an ongoing conversation across all possible channels is a technical challenge. But when we look at it, the problem seems really like it is blockchain shaped. The communication is happening in multiple places, many of which we don't control. So we need a way to store the communications that preserve the order and detail, even if it disappears from the original source. We might also want to use it as audit log in the case of customer or regulatory complaint. Signed ordered blocks that we cannot change or remove would be excellent ways of stitching together the many parts of our omnichannel conversation with the customer. Now, the decentralization aspect is less interesting here, but that's okay. A private blockchain can still give us all the other benefits, even if decentralization is less useful in this case. About ambiguous identification, very few countries or companies have solved identification problem. Social security numbers, plastic ID cards, or combination of semi-private information are all limited in both the security offer and how applicable they are to digital identity. As such, much customer communication is hampered because it's hard to know whether the recipient truly is the intended customer. Email and SMS are not especially secure, for example. Using ideas from blockchain, we can create unambiguous digital identities for everyone. And in Estonia, they are going just with their e-identity scheme. By using a smart card, citizens can digitally sign and decrypt communication. If customer communication took place on a blockchain, we could ensure only the intended recipient could access the content through encryption and have a permanent record of that communication. And the last...
I'm sorry for interrupting. We have no more time. Please, could you move to the conclusion?
So I guess we wouldn't talk about the principles of working with blockchain. To what conclusion we should move?
Keep it, and
okay.
Please move to the conclusion.
So
and
my colleague will continue, I guess.
I suppose there are more slides about blockchain, and it's not a conclusion. My slide, I mean, yep.
So,
okay, good. Thank you so much. Sorry for interrupting, but we don't have enough time. And I just would like to promise to you that next time you will have no less than 20 minutes for your presentation. Thank you for your view. I just would like to add that in my view, the IT solutions that are so useful for us are now very simple to differentiate it all things to provide for human the opportunity to communicate with machine. This is the voice recognition. This is another task to learn machines to communicate, to talk with people, to understand what people think, what they're going to say, what their any movings, to understand any emotions according to this face movements, small movements. So this way, the IT is one of the most developed industry, and this is the key, the cornerstone task for all industries and for the IT, first of all, in case of communication with clients. The most important task is to communicate, to build the communication between machine and the human on the very high level. And this is the key to Internet of Things, first of all, when we could communicate with any equipment inside our home, but without any special knowledge of different languages, without any programming, when we just could say, okay, switch on the light, or what's about the water consumption. So this is the issue that is very important for all the industries, but now only IT segment is the responsible for solving this problem. Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. I would like to show you your scores. Team number 1 is 9, team number 3 is 8, team number 2. Let me see, I'm not sure about the 8 score, because in my view your decision are about the blockchain. Okay, it's just like a technology, it's Serum. It's not the very modern solution. It's more about, it's not about the communication, it's about the business process inside the company. Let me see, I will let you know this evening your scores. It's between 7 or 8. Okay. Okay, thank you, my friends. Thank you for this lesson. See you again next week. Team number 2, don't worry, I'll let you know about your score. Okay? Thank you, bye.
Thank you, goodbye.